Probity is a very important topic, which is kind of it relates to ethics and how the business of the project is done. A lot of public entities usually give trainings to their staff for ethics and kind of some of this nature. Uh, so just will touch base on it. Uh, Only because this is most people are aware of it and you know what to do. So it's kind of there's some basics in on the ethics priority that the business is done fair throughout the life cycle with fairness in the process, and the project is delivered in a way that without any discrimination or any act that are not that's not ethical. So it's kind of one of the basics that there's no individual can get a kind of advantage or disadvantage because being involved in that process, and this kind of basics of the ethics. So you cannot accept gifts, cannot accept kind of anything from the other party in the project because that can be thought of as violation of ethics codes, and it's kind of it make it kind of cleaner and get away from any issue that can be thought of. And most staff and that works for public entities, they get a lot of training about ethics. So that's kind of one thing that just want to mention quickly about it and remind people that works on the project for it without having to get into through it. And definitely the ethics code of the government should be followed, and the morale of the person itself should control not to go into unethical uh, action. Compliance with regulations. Regulations. There's a lot of regulations, a lot of laws, a lot of rules that must be followed uh, during the project, and it's very important to look for this kind of compliance, because when there is no compliance, that can kind of make issue with a certain with other public entities, or with the government. It can lead to complications in the projects, and it can be an issue, and in some situations it can stop the whole project from going forward, and a lot of issues can come uh, over. So it's very important to watch for compliance. Make sure that there is a concept in the whole organization that we have to comply with rules and regulations, that this is something that will not be tolerated, and has to be to figure out and identify what are what are the actions that consider a breach for laws or regulation or codes or standards of the regulation standards of the public entity, and make sure that once identified such issues, as we action should be taken to make sure that such a breach will not be continued and is corrected. So it is always it's important that to look at not to have any breach of such a regulation or laws in the first place. That's easier to do. But if such a breach occurred, actions to should be taken to respond to on it, to correct such a wrong action, and move forward. So that's very important, and that's kind of can help training can help people to understand such rules, and be aware of, and take that matter serious, can help. So that's kind of it making sure that such compliance will help the organization becomes a good citizen and a player in the community, and help, and the project look good. But it's always important, because the consequence usually comes out of non-compliance is usually too much than to accept. So it's always better to comply with laws and regulations and rules, to be away from any bad consequences.